Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Mano for 777, and we're back inside of Destiny. I'm going to do a new video today, a new video series. We're going to be talking over the vendor roles that are currently in Destiny right now to tell you if they are good in PvP or PvE. So we're going to go over here first to the Crucible Quartermaster and take a look at what he has in store for us this week. I'm going to kind of just pick out any weapons that I think that look pretty decent. This Party Favor is okay because it has braced frame on it, which will be kind of nice. It also has life support, which these three perks work together. Headseeker will get you a little bit of a boost, but because of the way that the impact works, it's not going to be like something like a Parthian Shout where it's going to be a lot stronger. Hero formula is actually pretty decent. I always like it when life support is on a gun. This might be okay for, say, for example, like maybe PvE if you need to pick it up. Reactive reload does work pretty well. I do like that a whole lot. The Palindrome this week is kind of a meh roll. It does have reinforced barrel, but spray and play is probably the thing you're going to want to use along with reactive reload, but no other range buffs. So the original roll from Rise of Iron is still going to be better. Of course, nothing here that's really amazing. We're going to take a look at this event horizon to see if it's got a pretty decent roll. Not really, unfortunately. It does have short gaze, so if you need to pick that up, if you are using sniper rifles, who uses sniper rifles right now except for Icebreaker? Chaotic Neutral is pretty decent as well. Again, it's got life support, counterbalance, and perfect balance, or excuse me, persistence. That's going to be a nice roll, especially for PvE if you need a good machine gun, if you don't have one of those to pick up. Also, the Something Wicked does have the cluster bombs if you need to have something that does a little bit more damage. The velocity is kind of medium to above average, so that's pretty good if you do need a rocket launcher for PvE. Nothing in here, though, screams PvP God tier, so let's go ahead and look at the other vendors this week. Okay, we're over at New Monarchy. Let's take a look and see what he's got for us. The Assembly is a nice auto rifle because of the low impact, but the thing that you're going to want to be looking for is kind of some kind of range and stability boost, and unfortunately, I don't really see it here. Armor piercing rounds is okay. It's going to give it a little bit of boost in range, but perfect balance is going to give you a little bit more stability, and hidden hand, it's okay, not God tier in any means or fashion. Going over here, let's take a look. The free will is actually not terrible, but the problem with the free will is that it has a super low range stat already, and here we're only going to get like a stability boost. Nothing in here that's going to be amazing that you're going to want to pick up. The Impeacher. Now, this is something, since sidearms are really good right now, the Impeacher is something that you may want to pick up. I recommend this because here's the one thing with this. It's got hand loaded and it's got rangefinder, and it fires just as fast or maybe just a little bit slower than the Wormwood, but I find that I can do a lot of damage if this has got a rangefinder hand loaded boost on it. Maybe quick draw. Especially if you are going to be picking it up out of switching a different weapon. That might be a weapon to pick up this week if you have some extra marks lying around. It's not God tier, but it's okay. Bad Counsel is kind of a meh shotgun. Again, sniper rifles aren't too amazing here. Let's go over to Dead Orbit and Future War Call to see what they have in store for us over there. Before we get to the rest of the weapon rolls, I actually thought I'd take a second and talk about the tier 12 or capable tier 12 things that you can pick up. From Future War Cult, you can pick up a 98% and a 96% ghost. There's really no 100% rolled stuff on a few things. We've got basically, if you go to the speaker for the Warlock, he is going to have a bond for you that is a 380 Sunsinger's bond that's going to be a 100% roll. There is going to be a Defender's, a Striker's mark that is 98% roll, as well as a Gunslinger's cloak over the speaker. The speaker is going to probably be your best bet for any kind of tier 12 rolls this week. Everything else is pretty marginal on like the 92 to 86% roll stats. So I wanted to make sure you guys knew about that. There is going to be a Dead Orbit mark over for your Titan that is 98%. But other than that, yeah, the vendor rolls this week, at least in terms of tier 12 and armor pieces, are not amazing this week. Okay, we're over here at Dead Orbit. Let's go ahead and take a look at what they have over here. Now, this Extremophile auto rifle is actually going to be just a little bit higher impact, but you'll notice that the range and the stability strat are significantly better than the Assembly 2, which is pretty nice. You'll get a little bit of a boost from armor-piercing rounds, perfect balance, and persistence. This is a pretty good auto rifle. I do like the boost to the stability that perfect balance does give this, so that might be something to pick up, especially with auto rifles being in a good spot this week. Next up, we've got the Keystone Scout Rifle. This is actually a very, very, very good roll this week. I'd say for mostly PvE, but it could be decent in PvP, just a little bit if you're in a long-range map. Explosive rounds here is going to do very nicely, along with Outlaw and Crowd Control. These guys right here are going to be amazing together. I always am a fan of Crowd Control. If this thing had Firefly, I might say pick this up. That's what I'm always looking for. Crowd Control, especially doing PvE. This thing is going to actually wreck a whole lot if you need to pick up a nice weapon to use in the raid. Say, for example, maybe you don't have a Burning Eye Scout Rifle. This might be a good substitute. I'd say that that is a nice pickup this week. One of the top tier pickups to pick up this week. Of course, no one really uses fusion rifles. The Last Ditch does have a rangefinder boost on it if you're looking for that. It does have small bore, so you get a little bit of range and stability, losing a little bit of reload speed, but that's not the worst thing in the world. Hipfire and extended magazine actually are going to work pretty well together on that. So I would say if you're looking for a shotgun, that might be a good pick for you. Bitter Edge is kind of a meh sniper rifle. Unto Dust does have grenades and horseshoes, but that's a very slow firing rocket launcher. It does come with Javelin though, so this makes it a little bit more of a good pick this week. I might say Quick Draw, Javelin, and grenades and horseshoes might be a good pick to pick up this week if you are looking for a good rocket launcher. That could be good in Crucible. It's not amazing, but it would get the job done. Let's finish up by going to Future Workhalt and the the Vanguard Quartermaster. Let's go over to the Vanguard Quartermaster right now, since he is just right here. Let's see what he has in store for us this week. Really, the Parthian shot might be decent. It's not as god tier as some people make it out to be. Continental is one that it's actually got a nice hand-laid stock boost on it, but the thing is it reduces the range so much. I would say go over to Dead Orbit and pick up the Extremophile. It's the same type of archetype of weapon. Now, the Parthian shot does have Head Seeker, which I love. However, it only has small bore, and these are kind of eh. I'd probably skip on the Parthian shot this week. The Angel's Advocate, which could be a good scout rifle, unfortunately just doesn't have anything to kind of compete. I would definitely go pick up a Keystone as well. How Dare You, just looking at those, doesn't really have a good stat on it. It's got reinforced barrel, but and mulligan, but hidden hand is not going to work as well as like maybe a rangefinder boost to that. No one really uses fusion rifles as well. Teacup Tempest is kind of meh. Occam's Razor could be decent in PvE, but not anything like in PvP. So I might say just hold off on that. Nothing really here that's striking my fancy. Bone Crasher is not as good as, say, for example, any of the other machine guns from any of the other vendors. I'd say pass on that. Disassembly required might be viable this week. It does have heavy payload, it does have cluster bombs, and it does have life support and vacuum, which I do like, especially for PvE. I would say that this is a good PvE version of it. It doesn't have super high velocity, but it does have a nice heavy payload. It does have blast radius, so that could actually be pretty nice if you're looking for a nice rocket launcher for PvE. So that's everything over there for the Vanguard Quartermaster. Excuse me, yeah, the Vanguard Quartermaster. I was trying to mix up Crucible and Vanguard. My bad, guys. Let's go over here and check out the final vendor for this week. Let's go over here. We've got kind of the same role as we do on the Palindrome. It has explosive rounds, quick draw. I would definitely pass on the Whale this week. Looking at these different roles, we do have the Waltz. It's got the Rodeo perk on it, which kind of is meh. I'd say skip that again this week. Let's move on over. No one really uses, again, fusion rifles, although that does have rangefinder on it. If you do want to give your shot to using a fusion rifle, that might be your pickup this week. Using the Wounded, they both have, oh yeah, they have both of these, the Dead Orbit and the Future War Cult have crowd control and explosive rounds. Now, I'm a huge fan of using these two together, especially in PvE. They're very good. It does have Hammer Forged as well as Unflinching, which might be kind of nice. I would say pick this up or pick up the Keystone this week. I don't think that either one of them is better than the other. It's a slightly different perk on it. These are kind of like stability stats just like the other ones, but explosive rounds and crowd control I'm a huge fan of, especially when you're going into any kind of PvE activity. It works very well. Of course, you got your good old Wormwood, and it doesn't look like it has any kind of huge range stats, so you might want to hold off on that. I still think that getting the Impeacher over at New Monarchy might be your pick this week. You've got the Warpath with grenades and horseshoes, but again, if you look at the velocity, the disassembly required would actually be a better pick this week. The blast radius is nice. Some people have been looking because they talk about the fact that the Warpath can actually basically knock out and do more damage than a Dark Drinker, but this week, on Axis at least, this week that is not the case because it doesn't have cluster bombs. So guys, that is the vendor rolls this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I tried to just do a nice quick brief overview of the weapons you'd want to pick up. Again, I'd say the Scout Rifles from Future War Cult and from Dead Orbit are probably the ones to pick up, as well as the Impeacher over at New Monarchy, and maybe the Rocket Launcher over here at the Vanguard Quartermaster might be your pickups for this week. Guys, if you like something in this video, a positive rating would be greatly appreciated. Hit that subscribe button for more Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 content. Check out my Twitch live streams where I help people out with the raids, as well as lots of other activities. Maybe dabble in some PvP and some trials here and there, helping people do the whole flawless thing. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and leave a comment down below. If you do like this series of video, please let me know, because I'll continue it going forward. And guys, I will see you next time in the universe of Destiny.